Hey everyone, Andrew Chalman here with another machine skills video. In this one, I'll be covering some ideas on how to add some elements to your drum group, as well as some effects that you can use on the bus. So let's go ahead and get started. My project sounds like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and solo my drum group so I can hear what's going on. For right now, it's just my basic kick, hi-hat, and snare pattern. Just has those three different elements. And a lot of the time I like to go ahead and add some more sounds on top of this just to sort of make it a little bit more interesting. So a nice technique that I use a lot is adding another snare, and this snare should be a little bit different in character. So my main snare right now is pretty up front. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add another snare that's a little bit more in the background, a little bit lighter, but it's a different sort of tone to it. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and layer this on my snare. You can see it plays right on top of my snare a couple times, but it also plays some different notes. So if you hear this like now, just some of those little interesting notes to just sort of make things a little bit more unexpected, a little bit more unique to the listener. So we have that additional snare. Another thing I like to do is add a shaker on top. So that is right here. And this doesn't play often, it just plays enough to sort of add a different element to the drum beat. So it sounds like this. Just once in a while you can see there's only a few shaker notes in here, but just another little thing to layer on top. Moving on, I like to add a tambourine as well, so go ahead and unmute that, and you can see this tambourine here plays on the snare every other time, so it sounds like this. So when I'm adding all these different elements, it's important to not go overboard. So I have quite a few different actual sounds here, but they're not playing all at once. Just some sort of little additions here and there. The last thing I'll do is go ahead and add a ride cymbal here. And this is something that might not work with this specific project, but sometimes it sounds pretty good. So you can see, again, I don't play it on every single note. This only plays a little bit throughout the pattern. But those are just some ideas on some different elements that you can add to your drum pattern. Some shakers, additional snares, some cymbals, and other percussion such as tambourines. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and unmute my other groups here and see how it sounds in context. Pretty cool. And now I'm going to go ahead and start adding some effects on top of this. This is just going to be a quick little rundown of what I do sometimes. So a cool effect that I like to use in Maschine is the saturator, and this has a couple different modes. So if I play through these, you can really get some distortion if you really bump these up, but for me I'm going to keep these pretty mellow and just add some fatness to it. And especially if you're working with that like old school vibe, you can get some really cool sounds with this with the saturator. And I also like to go ahead and add some reverb, just some very subtle reverb. I like to use the plugin here because this allows me to cut out the low end. So I don't want to get too muddy with my reverb, so I like to cut out the lows just like that and then bring this down. So it's almost to the point where you can't hear it, but if you go ahead and bypass it, just adds that subtle space to it. So between those two, I think it really makes the drum sit in context a little bit better. So here we go, we'll play it. So again, those are just a few techniques that I find myself using. I hope it gives you some ideas that you can work in your own projects. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next video.